Shocking truth. 4 carbs over 60s must avoid at all costs, 4 life-changing ones to eat right now. In a world where every bite could be your last, the clock seemed to tick louder for those over 60. Scandals brewed like bitter coffee, whispered in hushed tones over lunch tables and in the waiting rooms of clinics. What if I told you 4 common carbs could unravel your health faster than a speeding train? The very thought sent shivers down spines. Picture this: a crisp bagel, golden and tempting, but lurking beneath its toasted surface, a hidden danger to your heart. The streets of America buzzed with mentions of a so-called carb curse. Eyes watered. Folks wrung their hands as they recalled the sudden spikes in blood sugar, the fatigue that came crashing like a wave. But just when you thought it couldn't get weirder, enter the mysterious new study that turned everything upside down. Researchers claimed some carbs offered life-altering benefits. Why were these secrets kept under wraps? Fear of losing a grip on a market built on cheap, starchy fillers? The tension was palpable. You could almost taste it in the air like ozone before a storm. Countless lives hung in the balance. Shrinking waistbands and heavy hearts matched the urgent pleas of countless friends sharing tales of transformation. How could something so innocent, something you put on your plate every day, hold such dire consequences? Faces twisted in disbelief as they asked, "Why didn't anyone tell us?" Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button. It really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Returning to the dissection of these carb enigmas, the suspense built like pressure in a soda can. Was pasta that spiraled around a fork truly a friend or foe? Did bread, that comfort on every plate, hold the key to either vitality or decline? Every answer brought more questions. As each mouthful became a gamble, a shadow loomed over dinner tables across the nation. How could colliding forces of good and evil exist in just a few grains of wheat? The closer they got to the truth, the more tangled the web became, and no one had the answers yet. What dark forces were at play in the world of carbs? And who, dare I say, could be pulling the strings? As the story continued to unfold, whispers turned into cries for help. Mary, a spry 70, found herself hunched over her kitchen table, peering into her smartphone. With shaking hands, she scrolled through the latest articles, each headline more outrageous than the last. Carbs could be killing you. One screamed, "Your morning toast may lead to disaster." Another warned. The adrenaline coursed through her veins. This was no ordinary health scare. This was a full-blown crisis. "Damn it," she muttered under her breath, her frustration palpable. It wasn't just about her. It was about every friend she lost too soon, and every neighbor who struggled, clutching their chest after a meal deemed perfectly normal. Across town, Tom, her neighbor and fellow retiree, had seen the headlines too. The two shared coffee every Thursday, and he thought of her while wrestling with his own fears and revelations. Last month, the doctor had shared grim news: prediabetes. He recalled the heaping plates of pasta he used to enjoy, now replaying like a horror movie in his mind. Could this be my fate too? He pondered, staring blankly at a half-eaten sandwich. Meanwhile, a buzz began surrounding the study that claimed some carbs could be beneficial. Could it be true? Was there a Escondido gem buried within the rows of rice or the heart of sweet potatoes? Days turned into a maelstrom of confusion. Local news reported factions forming: the carb deniers versus the carb devotees. Social media exploded with stories, testimonies of miraculous recoveries by those who fought the tides of conventional wisdom. One evening, led by a burning curiosity, Mary gathered with a small group at the community center. The air buzzed with anticipation. She could feel her heart pounding in sync with the murmurs bouncing off the walls. Was this the night they would learn the truth? She squinted at the speaker, a tall young man named Jason, as he paced the stage, sweat glistening on his forehead. "Imagine a world where your grocery list doesn't dictate your health," he declared, his voice echoing amid the lies and truths that had twisted their lives. What if the very food you feared could help you thrive? His eyes gleamed with a fervor that sent a ripple of hope through the crowd. Gasps erupted, disbelief etched across faces weathered by uncertainty. "This sounds too good to be true," someone shouted from the back, skepticism lacing their tone. Mary felt herself nodding, tethered between caution and allure, but Jason didn't waver. "It's not just about what to avoid. We're unlocking secrets that will change your lives." He unveiled a chart depicting the so-called life-changing carbs, and gasps of awe mixed with questions pierced the air. Was this the answer they'd been searching for? Would this be the ticket to reclaiming health that had slipped through their fingers? But as they all leaned in, ready to embrace this new path, a sound pierced the excitement. An old woman, frail and trembling, burst through the doors. "No, you're wrong," she cried, face pale with alarm. "The truth is much darker than that." The room froze as her words hung heavily in the air, each person feeling the weight of uncertainty return, like a storm rolling in to crush a sunny day. "Wait, what do you mean?" Mary challenged, a lump forming in her throat. The old woman stepped closer, her voice barely above a whisper, yet laden with urgency. "They've been hiding the truth." And with that, the room erupted, tension skyrocketing. Was a deeper danger lurking beneath the surface? What had been concealed for far too long? The community stood on the brink of revelation, blind to what lay ahead, and Mary couldn't shake the feeling that they were about to uncover a dark side to this carb conundrum that would send their lives cascading into chaos. What was she willing to sacrifice to get to the bottom of this? And could they handle the truth when it finally came crashing through the doors? The old woman's words cut through the excitement like a jagged knife. Silence enveloped the room, thick and suffocating. Every eye turned toward her, drinking in the gravity of her warning. "Who are you?" Jason demanded, stepping forward. The swagger in his voice was gone, replaced by confusion tinged with irritation. "What do you mean they've been hiding the truth?" "I'm Agnes," she replied, voice quaking but authoritative. "I've seen too many fall into this trap. Too many believe the lies without questioning what lies beneath." Her eyes roamed the crowd, locking with Mary's. "It's not just a food debate. It's a war." "What war?" Tom whispered, rising slowly from his chair. His eyes were wide, tissues of fear and curiosity woven together. "Big food has agendas, profits, control." Agnes persisted, her breath hitching, the tension forcing her to clutch the back of a chair. "They want to keep us dependent, to keep us sick while they line their pockets with money from our misled choices." Murmurs rippled through the space as the community processed her words. Mary felt her heart race. Was it possible? Had they all been misled, unknowingly participating in their own decline? Agnes took a step closer, her frail figure trembling under the weight of her words. "Carbs can be dangerous, yes, but there are specific ones they don't want us to know about." She pointed toward Jason, her finger accusing. "You think you hold the truth, but what if it's just another shiny distraction?" Jason fidgeted, visibly shaken but unwilling to back down. "I'm just sharing the latest research," he stammered, his confidence wavering. "And what is that research based on?" Agnes challenged, her voice rising. "Don't just believe what is pretty on a chart. Look at the data. Where's the proof?" Mary could almost feel the room twitch, a gathering storm of doubt and anger brewing. "So what do we do?" She found herself asking, the question bursting from within. Are the carbs we're being told to avoid the real threat? Agnes's eyes softened for a brief moment, as if she believed in the community's potential strength. "The real tragedy is how they manipulate our fears," she replied gently. "Realize that even life-saving foods need caution. What they're ignoring could be life-altering. It's not about black and white. It's about the gray area between." Voices rose among the crowd, fueled by disbelief and rage. Some voiced the need to protect their health. Others clung desperately to the safety of old beliefs. Mary felt caught in the eye of this storm, uncertain, terrified. "What do you recommend?" Tom asked. His voice was steady even as his hands trembled. "If we need to avoid certain carbs, how will we know which?" Agnes paused, drawing a shuddering breath. "First, yourself." She pointed emphatically, her frail hand trembling. "You must understand your own body. The food industry doesn't care about you. You're not a statistic. You're a life. Take back your power. Look into the risks. But we need evidence." Someone shouted. "How can we trust you?" Mary surveyed the room, full of concerned faces, Fellow retirees caught up in this turmoil of information. Everything had turned upside down in a heartbeat. They sought answers, but the fear remained a chill creeping down her spine. Every moment spent in doubt is time taken from your life, Agnes said, her voice urgent. I can help unravel this complexity, but you must decide to listen and be ready for the truth, however bitter it may be. A heavy pause lingered in the air, thick with tension and potential. Mary felt the adrenaline surge in her chest. Were they really prepared to confront the reality of their lives? What is next, Agnes? She asked, voice steady despite the flutter of anxiety. What will it take? The frail woman smiled faintly, determination shining through her features. We find the hidden studies, the ignored results. Together, we'll unravel their lies. As the crowd nodded, their resolve slowly igniting, Mary couldn't help but wonder. Would the path they chose lead them to liberation or ruin? The gathering was ready for action, but Mary could sense a storm on the horizon far darker than she could have anticipated. What impending truths lay hidden just beneath the surface? And would they be ready for the revelations that could change everything? Mary's mind raced as Agnes's words took root in the air around them. They needed a plan, but confrontation lurked in the shadows. The desire for truth swirled amidst rising anger. What were they truly up against? Agnes, Mary ventured hesitantly. What do you mean by hidden studies? Agnes leaned in closer, urgency painted on her face. There are documents, outside the mainstream. Researchers uncovering companies that bury evidence. Shreds of information, food production studies you won't find in grocery aisles. But they're out there. Jason scoffed, crossing his arms. Conspiracy theories? We're supposed to believe in some secret underground fight? Not theories, Jason. Facts. Agnes snapped back, shaking her head. The dangers don't always come with a warning sign. The food industry has corrupted research. It's about profit over people. The tension snapped like a steel wire. Some members of the crowd, awakened by her call to arms, felt an exhilarating rush of possibility. But others shrugged, unwilling to entertain the notion that they'd been misled all along. What are we going to do next? Someone asked tentatively, breaking the tension. Let us start a research group, Tom suggested, voice trembling with conviction. We need volunteers, people who can scour different databases, uncover real results. His gaze wandered among the group, searching for allies amidst the differing opinions. Mary's breath caught in her throat. Could they really embark on this journey? This could become more than just a discussion, but a movement. Every fiber in her being screamed for action. They had to fight for their health, to reclaim their lives. I want to help, Mary blurted, a spark igniting in her chest. We can assign roles, gather studies together. There was a flicker of hope, gleaming like a dim light against the backdrop of chaos. Trust me, Agnes urged, her voice softer now. Start with your local libraries. They have access to medical journals. Cross-reference everything. The truth lies there. And keep your eyes peeled for nutritional conferences, where discussions around these studies often get buried. A low murmur of excitement whispered through the room, momentum building with every word. Mary felt the pulse of determination radiating from Agnes. But can it withstand the weight of the truth? Better yet, let us organize a community blog, Jason suggested begrudgingly. People can share their findings, maybe even spark debate. Some people nodded, intrigued by the idea. With every word exchanged, Mary could sense the atmosphere shifting. The seed of awareness had taken hold, spreading curiosity like wildfire among the members. Yet, beneath the surface, anxiety clutched at her throat. Could they handle whatever dark truths lay ahead? Would they welcome the findings from the shadows, or choose to shun them? The very cottony fabric of their beliefs was beginning to unravel under this new light. As ideas bounced around the room, Mary's heart pounded in her chest, feeling both terrified and exhilarated. This journey was only just beginning, and danger lurked, undiscovered and menacing. Remember, Agnes warned, her voice cutting through the rising excitement. The more we dig, the more we might find ourselves unable to turn back. Mary swallowed, a lump rising in her throat. She shared a glance with Tom. Could they bear the weight of what they might discover? Would they be ready to make the sacrifices needed to unveil the truth? As agreements were made, a palpable energy flowed through the room, a mix of fear and courage, electric and raw. But somewhere in the back of her mind, A shadowed voice whispered doubts and fears. Hours later, as the crowd began to disperse, Mary saw Agnes staring into the distance, a frown weighing heavily on her brow. What haunted her? Did she know something they didn't see? Agnes, wait. Mary called, but Agnes had already shuffled away, lost in her own cloud of thoughts. What lay hidden in the depths of their investigation, ready to spring forth? And would they be prepared for the raw truths that could forever alter the way they viewed their lives? The night swallowed the town whole as Mary walked back to her car, her pulse racing with a mix of excitement and dread. She replayed Agnes' words in her mind. What hidden studies? And why did Agnes look so troubled? Shadows seemed to stretch longer, whispering secrets she wasn't ready to confront. The drive home felt too slow. Each red light felt like an eternity. A new determination buzzed in her veins. She had to scope out those libraries, and soon. But a gnawing fear lingered at the edges of her thoughts. If the truths they were chasing had the power to uproot their lives, were they ready for it? Mary was barely through her front door when her phone buzzed. A text from Tom flashed on the screen. Meeting tomorrow, 7 p.m. Bring anything you find. Her heart raced again. This was at the catalyst. Maybe they could actually uncover something substantial. Maybe they could ignite change. But as she turned to the kitchen, the weight of uncertainty pressed against her chest, her hands trembling slightly as she rummaged for a notebook. Hours passed in a flicker. Mary printed research documents, comparisons, and articles she found online. But there was still a feeling of gaps in her knowledge, like trying to piece together a puzzle with missing parts. Suddenly, her phone buzzed again. A second text pinged through, this time from a number she didn't recognize. You're looking for something you may not want to find. Stop digging. Chills crawled up her spine. Who was this person? Was it a prank? Yet, unease seeped into her bones. She tried to shake it off, focusing instead on laying out her papers in the dim light of the kitchen. The next morning, she took an early trip to the library. Each step down the endless aisles felt like treading into a realm of dark possibilities. Melancholic whispers seemed to echo around her. She matched the titles to the articles Agnes had mentioned. Hidden journals, suppressed studies, it was here. The further she searched, the more she unearthed. A sense of satisfaction flickered, but so did a creeping fear. Back at home, she splayed the papers across her dining table, her heart pounding as she flipped through page after page. Data on health impacts, links to corporate misconduct, all unfolded before her eyes. The truth was all there, stark and unyielding. But every revelation felt heavier than the last, each line wrapping tighter around her lungs. The afternoon sun cast an eerie glow through the window, illuminating what began as hope, but now felt like a sinister prophecy. A knock broke her concentration hard, insistent, rattling against her resolve. She opened the door, her mind pounding. Two figures loomed on her doorstep, their expressions a mash of concern and urgency. "Mary, we need to talk," Jason said, glancing over his shoulder. "You shouldn't be alone right now." Before she could ask what he meant, a shadow flickered off behind them, like a fleeting dark thought. The air shifted, thickening with tension. "What aren't you telling me?" she demanded, panic creeping into her voice. "I think someone might be watching us," Tom added, his eyes darting around. "We can't just keep searching blindly." The words hung heavy, each syllable feeling like a stranglehold on her throat. As dread enveloped her, Mary wondered if the pursuit of truth had become more dangerous than she ever anticipated. What were they really up against? What line had they crossed that couldn't be uncrossed? "They can't scare us into silence," Jason declared, before the faint sound of sirens echoed in the distance, sending shivers up her spine. She stood frozen, heart racing. Were they truly ready for whatever consequences awaited them? But before she could grasp the gravity of it all, her phone chimed yet again. This time, an attachment shot across the screen. A video link. The sender was unknown. "What is this?" she breathed, her stomach lurching. Jason leaned in. "Do we dare to open it?" With her hands trembling, Mary hesitated. Did she really want to see what lay on the other side? The question lingered in the air, dark and heavy, waiting for her answer. Mary's heart hammered in her chest, the seconds stretching like hours as she stared at the screen. The video's thumbnail showed a blurry image of what appeared to be a corporate building, the type that filled her with unease. "What if this is a trap?" she muttered, biting her lip. "Or what if it's the proof we need?" Jason countered, his eyes alight with determination. Tom shifted uneasily, glancing out into the street. We don't have time to hesitate. Whatever that is, we need to see it. Taking a deep breath, Mary steadied her hand. She tapped the screen. The video began to play, and the muffled sound of a presenter's voice filled the room, mixing with her rapid heartbeat. This footage, the voice echoed, was obtained from a whistleblower within the corporation. Images flickered across the screen, documents, meetings in sterile rooms, and faces blurred in shadow. Mary's stomach tightened. This was big a level of threat she hadn't prepared for. So, they've been covering this up? Jason whispered, eyes glued to the screen. This isn't just about health anymore. Are you ready for this, Mary? Tom's voice was serious, cutting through the growing tension. She nodded slowly, though doubt gnawed at her. The video continued with testimonies from former employees, revealing shocking details about corporate decisions made to prioritize profit over safety. As the stories unfolded, Mary felt a mix of anger and fear rise within her. Each revelation chipped away at her sentiment of calm, exposing the harsh reality wrapped in layers of deceit. Then, without warning, a stark claim flashed on the screen. They knew. They knew the risks and didn't do a thing. A former executive's face, blurred but recognizable, emerged as he confessed an active cover-up of dangerous findings. Oh my God, Mary gasped, feeling the hot burn of tears behind her eyes. The quest for truth had turned from a mission for knowledge into something viciously personal. The video ended, leaving a disquieting silence in the room. Mary felt paralyzed, her mind racing with implications. If this was genuine, they had something combustible in their hands. But at what cost? I need to report this, she finally managed, her voice steady but filled with fear. Jason's face tightened. And put a target on our back? We need to be careful. Someone's already watching us. Then we go about this smart, Tom added, stepping closer. We can't let fear dictate our actions. But as much as Mary wanted to argue, deep down, she felt the weight of his words. What if they were playing with fire? Another knock interrupted the heavy silence. This one was louder, more forceful. Her heart dropped into her stomach. Should we answer? Jason asked, eyes widening. Mary didn't want to. She was overwhelmed, adrenaline pumping through her veins, leaving a trail of uncertainty. The knocking continued, growing more insistent. Mary, open up, it's important. A woman's voice, urgent and familiar. It was Agnes. Mary, let me in. It's critical. Torn between dread and the urgency of the moment, Mary exchanged a glance with Jason and Tom. Who could she trust, really? The stakes were scrambling her thoughts. You have to answer, Tom urged, his voice taut. There's no going back. As her heart raced, a thought pierced through her panic. What was Agnes about to reveal? Was it hope or another layer to their peril? In that moment, Mary knew she was at the brink of something monumental. But stepping into the unknown might seal their fates. With shaking hands, she reached for the doorknob, bracing herself for whatever lay beyond. What now? What would Agnes say that could change everything? Mary turned the doorknob slowly, her heart pounding like a drum in a parade. As the door creaked open, she was met with Agnes, her face flushed and eyes wide with fear. Mary, Agnes gasped, and Mary felt the weight of her urgency. We don't have time. She pushed herself through the doorway, practically shoving Tom and Jason aside in her panic. I heard about the video. I was followed. They're after you too. What do you mean? Mary's breath caught in her throat. Who is after us? It's much bigger than I thought, Agnes said, locking eyes with Mary. I found out that they've been monitoring everyone involved. If they think you have proof, Jason interrupted. What proof? We barely know what's true. He looked from Mary to Agnes, confusion written all over his face. Agnes shook her head, her voice trembling. I found something. A dossier with names, locations, and plans. They want to silence us. The room filled with a heavy silence as the implications sank in. Mary felt a chill crawl up her spine. How did you find this? I hacked into their system last night. But I didn't get far. They noticed me. Agnes paused, glancing toward the window as if anticipating danger lurking outside. I barely made it here without being spotted. Mary exchanged looks with Jason and Tom. She felt trapped, cornered by forces beyond her control. We have to leave. Now. Tom's voice cut through the tension, a resolute command. Leave where? Jason asked, anxiety tightening his voice. We can't just run. Not just run, Mary said, her mind racing. If Agnes found this dossier, maybe we can use it to bring them down. We need to figure out what it means before we make any moves. Agnes swallowed hard. You're right, but we have to act fast. We can't let them catch wind of it. They've already killed one whistleblower. Mary felt the room close in on her. She pressed her fingers against her temples, trying to process everything. What do we do now? Let us gather supplies, Tom suggested, a hint of urgency lacing his words. We need a plan, a safe place to analyze the information. We can't stay here longer. But as Mary turned to gather what they needed, she saw Agnes' expression harden. I need to warn you both. If I'm being watched, they might be onto you as well. You can't trust everyone in this. They know we're onto them. It's not just your lives at stake anymore. It's everyone who knows this information. A sudden sense of dread settled over Mary. Her stomach twisted as she thought of the people who had already suffered because of this corporation-esque greed. Then, we need to be ready for anything. We can't let fear control us, she declared, forcing steel into her voice. As they began to prepare, the air was thick with expectation. Each sound outside seemed amplified the creak of a floorboard, the rustle of leaves. Every second felt like an eternity. Then, her phone buzzed violently on the table. Mary jumped, her heart racing. She grabbed it and saw an unknown number flashing on the screen. Who is it? Agnes whispered, stepping closer, curiosity mingled with caution. Taking a breath, Mary hit accept, the weight of the decision hanging heavily in the air. Hello? She asked, her voice quivering. Silence filled the line, stretching taut. Just when she thought nobody was there, a voice broke through, chilling her to the bone. Mary, I know what you found. You need to listen carefully. They're closer than you think. Her heart dropped, panic rising. Who was this? What did they know? And most importantly, how much danger were they truly in? Was it a warning or a threat? As Mary stood frozen, dread flooding her veins and the world swirling around her, she realized they were spiraling deeper into something much darker than they had anticipated. Mary, you need to move, the voice on the other end hissed, its urgency slicing through her shock like a knife. You're not safe. They're closing in. Go to the warehouse near 5th and Elm. I'll meet you there. Who are you? Mary managed to stammer, her heart racing even faster now. Fear surged into her throat, blocking her words. They know you can expose them. The voice demanded, sharp and insistent. We don't have time. Just go. Trust no one. Before she could respond, the line went dead. Mary stared blankly at her phone, heart pounding in her chest like a frantic caged bird. What did they say? Tom's voice pulled her back from the precipice of her thoughts. They want us to meet at a warehouse. 5th and Elm, she said, each word feeling heavier than the last. Whoever this is, they seem to know what we found. Agnes's expression turned grave. We can't just walk into a trap. It might be our best shot at learning more, Jason interjected, trying to free them from the vice of fear gripping the room. We need to know what's out there. Tom glanced at the window, then at the door. Time is not on our side. If they know we have the dossier, Mary bit her lip, her mind racing. We'll need to move fast. Grab what you can. We can't be here when they come. As they scurried through the room, each movement felt charged with a sense of urgency. Mary's hands trembled as she shoved her laptop and some cash into her backpack. The faces of her friends glimmered with both determination and dread. The thin line between action and inaction blurred. Let us go, Mary urged, her heart pounding. They piled out of her apartment, the sound of the door clicking shut behind them echoing ominously. Outside, the world was an unsettling mix of normalcy and tension. People walked by, unaware of the storm brewing just beneath the surface. Mary could feel eyes on them, sensing danger hidden in plain sight. Cross the street. Stay low, Tom instructed, his voice barely above a whisper as they hurried toward the warehouse. Each shadow seemed to stretch toward them like predatory fingers, and headlights danced across the pavement, amplifying her anxiety. They rounded the corner, and Mary's thoughts split. What was waiting for them at the warehouse? Friend or foe? As they approached, the structure loomed a forgotten monolith with broken windows, a graveyard of forgotten dreams. Is this the right place? Jason murmured, glancing around nervously. Just give it a minute, Mary replied, her voice steady despite the pulse of panic in her veins. A harsh metal creaked inside the building, shattering the heavy silence. The door was slightly ajar, swaying ominously. Tom stepped forward, his jaw set with resolve. "We're going in." They pushed the door open, stepping into the dim interior, barely illuminated by the moon filtering through shattered glass. The air was stale and thick, every sound felt magnified. Mary held her breath, clutching her backpack, as they ventured deeper into the vast space. "Anyone here?" Tom called out, attempts at bravado laced with the undertone of fear, but there was no response, only the eerie echo of their voices. Just as Mary's sense of dread began to swell, she heard a rustle from the shadows, as if on cue. A figure emerged, stepping into the shaft of light. Mary's heart sank when she met the piercing gaze of a stranger, a woman clad in a feed cap and a long coat, her expression unreadable. "You came," the woman said, her voice smooth but threatening. "But trust me, you should have stayed away." Panic surged again in Mary's chest, anticipation merging with terror as the woman took a step closer. What had they walked into? That voice, the unspoken warning, it was all coming to a head now. Mary felt the walls of the warehouse closing in, and with a final step from the stranger, she realized they had entered a game much larger than themselves. "Prepare for your next lesson," the woman sneered. In that moment, dread warred with determination in Mary's heart as she caught a glimpse of the network of danger that lay ahead. And just then, her phone buzzed again in her pocket. What now? What would it say? With her heart pounding and a sense of foreboding that twisted her insides, she grasped her phone tightly, bracing herself for whatever revelation lay ahead. The screen lit up, casting a bluish glow on Mary's face. A text flashed, sending her heart back into a wild rhythm. "You don't have time. Get out now." Mary instinctively stepped back, her breath hitching as the stranger's lips curled into a smirk, sensing her terror. "Ah, I see they're still trying to protect you." The woman leaned against a rusted support beam, arms crossed, her confidence suffocating. "Who are you?" Mary's voice came out stronger than she felt. "What do you want?" The woman's expression hardened. "I'm the one who knows the truth, darling. You and your friends are meddling in affairs way beyond your comprehension." Tom stepped slightly in front of Mary, his brow furrowed. "We'll take our chances. We're not scared of you." The woman laughed, and it sent chills down Mary's spine. "Oh, you should be. The real threat isn't me." With a flick of her wrist, she motioned to the back of the warehouse. Heavy footsteps echoed from somewhere deep within, as if summoned by her gesture. "Listen, we don't have time for games," Jason said, eyes darting to the shadows. "You know something about the dossier. Tell us." The woman's eyes gleamed. "You think that's the issue? It's not the content. It's who's after it. They will come for you." And when they do, she trailed off, letting the implication hang in the air. Mary felt her stomach drop. "Who is they?" Before the woman could answer, the door slammed shut behind them with a deafening crash. Mary spun around, panic flooding through her. "What just happened?" "Breathe," Tom urged, but his voice trembled as he scanned the room. The atmosphere thickened, closing in like a vice. "I can't breathe. This place feels wrong." Mary gasped, her mind racing to piece together the fragments of truth scattered before her. A loud crash sounded from the far corner, and the faint silhouette of someone emerged through the darkness. "Time's up," the figure said, voice low and menacing. Mary's heart raced, each beat pounding in her ears. "Who are you?" The figure stepped into the dim light, revealing a familiar face. "It's me, Jake." "What? Jake?" Mary's confusion deepened. He had vanished months ago, presumed dead in the chaos of the night that shattered her world. Her heart twisted in disbelief. "But I saw you save it, Mary. They're not looking for you. They're looking for the dossier," he said, glancing over his shoulder, eyes reflecting undeniable fear. "We need to go. Now. Do you even know what you're in?" The stranger asked, narrowing her eyes. "He's not on your side. Trust nothing." Panic ricocheted through Mary. It felt as if the walls were closing in even tighter. She wasn't just fighting their enemies now. She was starting to question everyone around her. "Mary, listen," Jake interrupted, urgency thick in his voice. "I can explain everything, but we need to act fast. They're right behind me." The stranger laughed coldly. "You think he can be trusted? This is a game you can't win." As the tension soared, the lights flickered overhead, as if the warehouse itself was shuddering at the impending doom. Mary's breath quickened, the realization dawning she was in the crosshairs, with choices to make that could seal their fates. Mary, make your choice, Jake urged, grabbing her arm. We can take a chance, but we need to go now. Caught between truth and deception, the weight of the moment crashed upon her. Seconds trickled down like an hourglass as she grasped hold of her phone tightly. Would she trust Jake or heed the warnings of this woman, who embodied threat and knowledge alike? Just then, a loud bang echoed from somewhere outside, a sound unmistakably like gunfire. Her instincts screamed at her to flee. Yet in that moment of seismic pressure, the question hung. Which path would lead her to safety, and which could lead them all to ruin? Her heart thundered beneath the weight of uncertainty, each choice an open door to either freedom or destruction. The moment to decide loomed. An abyss of danger spread before her. But just as she opened her mouth to respond, darkness engulfed her vision, making her stumble back. She felt a grip. Someone had her. And then, blissful silence followed. What lay beyond this darkness? The cold, clammy air enveloped Mary as she blinked her eyes open, adjusting to the dim light spilling through cracks in a dilapidated wall. Her heart raced, trapped somewhere between panic and confusion. Had she fainted? Or was this a deeper realm of danger they had unwittingly ventured into? She strived to piece together the last moments. The gunfire, the tension, Jake, the ominous woman. Had they really been caught? As her senses sharpened, she noticed she wasn't alone. Tom and Jason were seated against a wall, their expressions mirroring her own. Fear spooled through Mary's veins like electric current. They had to get out. But where were they? Mary. Tom's voice broke the silence. Thank God. Are you okay? I think so, but what happened? Where's Jake? Her chest tightened as dread washed over her. We were separated, Jason replied, running a hand through his hair. After that bang, everything went black. It's like they swooped in before we had a chance. Did you see where he went? Mary's voice trembled. She didn't want to accept the possibility that he might be in danger. Tom shook his head, the shadows deepening under his eyes. No, but that woman, she must have known something. She was scared. Scared or dangerous? Jason countered, stealing a glance at the door. We're caught in something bigger than ourselves. We can't trust anyone. Mary felt her resolve harden. Then we'll have to rely on us. We know that Dossier has the truth we need. We've come too far to back down now. Right? Tom agreed, determination returning to his face. We need a way out of here. We'll find Jake. As they whispered about their next moves, the sound of footsteps echoed from the darkness. Tension spiked, hearts racing. Mary steadied herself as a figure emerged, a tall, imposing man draped in shadow. Her breath quickened. This had to be a threat. Someone's looking for you. His voice rumbled, low and powerful. Mary's pulse thudded painfully against her temple. Who? She snapped, her body taut like a drawn bowstring. Not who. What? A group. They've been watching you, trying to find out what you know. His gaze swept over the trio, assessing, measuring. You need to make a choice. Are you willing to expose the truth? Tom stepped forward, his jaw clenched. Or are you just another player in this game? You could be working for them. The man's smile was chilling. I'm the one chance you have to take this down. But it won't be pretty. They'll come after you for this. Mary's heart raced once more as she exchanged glances with her friends. Did they dare trust him? The risks loomed larger than ever. A part of her screamed to run, to keep hidden from the lurking dangers. But another part burned brightly, ignited by hope for truth, the very essence of their quest. Okay, she said, her voice steady, despite her fears. What is the plan? The man nodded, recognition sparking in his eyes. Meet me at the old mill at dawn. Bring everything you have. We'll reveal the dossier's contents publicly and expose the whole network. But how do we know we can trust you? Jason's voice broke in, a note of skepticism in his tone. Trust is earned in this game. But the truth is, they're closing in. Regardless of what you believe, this is your ticket for freedom if you choose to take it. Mary felt the weight of the man's words sinking in. And if we don't? He leaned slightly forward, lowering his voice. Then you'll be found. Quietly eliminated. Chills crept down Mary's spine as fear clutched at her heart. The world around her felt heavier. The shadows in the corners of the room loomed like specters waiting for their moment to strike. Okay, she said again, her heart racing. We'll meet you there. Dawn. Don't be late. The man faded back into the shadows, leaving them wrapped in uncertainty. What now? Tom asked, urgency morphing into action, the fear rolling away as adrenaline surged back. We head back to my place, Mary said, taking a deep breath, determination feeding her spirit. We'll analyze what we have and keep a low profile. If this is the endgame, we need every piece of information aligned before dawn. Together, they slipped out of the warehouse, every creak of the floorboards echoing in the empty night. Every step they took felt heavy, like walking through nightmares, but moving toward light. As they hurried through the darkened streets, Mary's mind spun, fiercely focused on the path ahead. The truth was within reach. Would they dare to seize it? Would they step into the light or allow the shadows to envelop them once more? They reached Mary's home, quickly slipping inside, locking the door behind them. The weight of urgency hung in the air, heavy with anticipation. We'll split up the research, Mary announced, her voice tinged with an electric thrill. We need to check everything, cross-reference it all. The hours fled past like wisps of smoke. Pages turned, eyes scanned. They hunched over their laptops and files, pushing the shadows further away. The fear was there unrelenting, but a flicker of hope propelled them forward. As dawn approached, every revelation solidified their resolve. But just then, Mary's phone buzzed furiously on the table, slicing through the tension. What now? She muttered, feeling that familiar tightness in her chest. With dread spreading like wildfire, she glanced at the screen. An unknown number again, pulse quickening. Hello, she answered breathlessly, anticipation crackling in the air. Did you think it would be that easy? A cold voice came through, cutting and scathing. You're in over your head. We'll find you. And then the line went dead. Mary felt the earth shift beneath her, panic rising. They know. She gasped, dread curling like smoke in her belly. Tom and Jason exchanged worried glances. We need to go. Now, Jason urged as they gathered their things. The oppressive weight of their reality bore down on Mary. Time slipped through her fingers like sand, and as they stepped out into the dawn, paranoia clawed at her thoughts. She glanced back at her home, the place that held the artifacts of her normal life, now dimmed under the threat of imminent danger. Once again, she stood at the edge of the unknown, every instinct pushed to the limit as she steeled herself against the fear. The road ahead promised danger, but it also held the promise of change, a chance to break through the chains of deceit. Facing the morning light, she whispered a fierce vow. We'll uncover everything. Together. And with that, the first steps into a chaotic future began. You need to subscribe now to ensure you don't miss the next thrilling chapter in this saga. Smash that like button right now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about what's to come. And for goodness sake, instantly share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this gripping conclusion. Don't wait even one more second. Your support means the world.